Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Um, Today is obviously a double period Monday. The good thing is, I think there's a good portion of you that will get all of the work done within the one period, because even though it's like two assignments, I don't think it's a lot. And I think if you guys work at a fast pace, you should be able to get everything done in the next 45 minutes. All right, so let's just kind of mention a few things. First and foremost, we are back on the textbook Thursday schedule. So Thursday, you will have your 8th textbook Thursday assignment due. So please take a look at that. And, you guys can get that done throughout the week. It's going to be based on the Civil War, obviously. You are going to have your Unit 2 test Wednesday, 12/9/20. So that is not 2 days from now. That is 9 days from now. Again, I like to give you a little bit of a heads up with that. If you want to get a head start on studying, you can go on the quiz and test prep. Please keep in mind that is a nation growing and dividing, so that's going to be a lot of the Manifest Destiny stuff, along with some of the antebellum period and eventually Civil War stuff. All right, and then you have a little bit of an overflow of information here, so it can be a little bit confusing. So I'll go through each piece of information so you know exactly what you need to do. All right. So let's see. Will that test be? No, that will be for the second marking period. All right. You will have a couple of classwork assignments for this final marking period, but that is actually your first major grade for the next marking period. So that's a good question. All right. So let's go through a couple things. So today, obviously, is the start of the craziness of the Civil War. The first couple of lessons will not exactly give it the taste or the feel of how crazy some of these how crazy the Civil War is. But I think over the next few days, you'll start to see how deadly and how bad this war was, not only on a moral level, but also on a physical death total level. All right, this is the deadliest war in American history, more than World War I, more than World War II, more than the Vietnam War. And that has to do for a couple of reasons, but for the most part, we're going to see why this turns into the deadliest war in American history. All right, so we have two things that we're doing today. All right, the first thing we're doing is we're going to break down the strengths and weaknesses of the Union and Confederacy. Okay, and I'll break down what that means in a second. And then we're going to start to go into some of the early battles of the Civil War. All right, so there's no notes today, which is kind of rare, so I guess enjoy that. I would like for us to take a look at this, though. At the end of class on Wednesday, after we saw, I believe it was the oversimplified video, we then took a look at having you guys trying to figure out, all right, what was the name of the country in the North, what was the name of the country in the South, and really just breaking down the leaders of the Civil War. So while you're doing this assignment, I'm going to have this up. Because I think whether you're doing the strengths and weaknesses, whether you're doing the battles, it's good to, number one, to have a picture of what their uniforms look like and what their flags look like. So here you obviously have the Confederate soldiers. Okay, they wore this kind of gray uniform. They have the Confederate flag in the background. This is how they kind of looked. The Union had this kind of blue uniform. Now, when you watch videos and when you watch some pictures and you look at some pictures from the Civil War or some paintings, you'll be surprised how similar the navy blue, the dark blue, and the gray look. All right, so sometimes it looks like it's very tough to distinguish, who's on what side. All right, but you should know that the Union or the former United States is in this blue. All right, we are led by President Abraham Lincoln. His view on slavery is to stop the spread of slavery and obviously bring our country back together, preserve the Union. The South had the complete opposite. Okay, they were led by Jefferson Davis. A huge focus on their constitution was keeping slavery legal. They made sure that all Confederate states had slavery legal. That was a huge part of it. They were also very focused in on states' rights. They were focused in on staying away from the Union and making their own country. Essentially, this is the South's fight for independence. Okay, they were trying to become independent from the North, and obviously a war is going to break out because of that. All right, so you're going to see the names like Ulysses Grant, William Sherman, okay, throughout the readings, throughout the strengths and weaknesses. So this will be up while you guys are doing the assignment. All right, let's break down what you're doing actually in the second period, because some of you are going to get there before, okay? So I'm going to explain what to do in the second period. Please, please, please watch this YouTube video of period 2. This is me going over, as you can tell. Just want to make sure it works. It should. Okay, this is me going over the part 2 battles, the battles portion of what you're going to do and some of the early battles. And as you're watching that video, you're going to notice that you will be working on this Google Doc here. All right, so this is something you're doing after the assignment. I go through how to do it. I go through exactly what to do with it. All right, and you're going to be using these readings here called the battles right here, Battle of Fort Sumter, Battle of Bull Run. You're going to be working with this on period 2. All right, so before we look at the overall strengths and weaknesses of the Union Confederacy, we're going to do all that. I'm not sharing my screen. What the heck happened? Okay. I've been sharing it for the most part, though, right? It just stopped sharing? Let's try that again. Okay. So, yeah, sorry about that. I don't know why it happened. Maybe I was moving tabs too quickly. The system got overloaded. All right. So that's what you're doing on period 2. Follow the YouTube for that. I think it'll be very straightforward and gives you a good understanding of the beginning of the Civil War. All right. What you're doing today is we're going to look at the overall strengths and weaknesses. So I would open up this PowerPoint. Okay, you already have your focus question there. It's already written down. And if you look through the PowerPoint, it's going to go through the strengths of the Union. Why were they good in war? Why were they not so good? Okay, they have their strengths here. Why were they not so good would be the weaknesses here. All right, so what was the North good at? What were they good fighters at? Why were they strong in this war? Or why were they not so strong? Then you're going to get the same thing for the South. All right, what were the strengths? Okay, what were they good at? And what were the weaknesses? What were they not so good at? And try and get a sense of overall what they did. So instead of us copying this into our notebook, we kind of have it here. Okay? You're then going to get basically these questions here, which you're going to answer on the Google Doc. Okay? And then you'll have these questions here. Instead of writing them on here because you can't, I've decided just to move them to the Google Doc. All right? Which looks like this. All right? Very straightforward stuff. I wouldn't even consider this tough Regents material. Okay, you just want to break down which side had a larger population. So go to the PowerPoint, try and figure out if it's Union or Confederacy, and then just highlight which side. Now, obviously here, I've done the first one for you as a little bit of a model. You just want to highlight it. If you don't know how to highlight or you can't highlight because you're on an iPad, you can just bold it. All right, that's fine. Or circle it or whatever's easier. Just make it known for what to do there. All right. Some are from the PowerPoint. Some will be from the screen that I'm sharing. Some of it will be, some of your usual notes that we've already copied down. So this is just a quick thing. Then you have 3 analysis questions. Okay. Based on these analysis questions, okay, these aren't from the PowerPoints. These are stuff that you need to figure out on your own. Okay. So analyze, try and answer the questions. All right. So you guys are going to be working on that to start for today. All right. At your own pace. Okay, this could be at 10:40, this could be at 10:50, this could be at 11 o'clock. You will then go to the next part, which is going into the battles. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to finish everything in the next 35, 40 minutes, but the good thing is, ladies and gentlemen, you will have the opportunity to go through this. Okay, you'll have the opportunity to take your time with it, and since we know it's a double period type of Monday, you could finish it up at another point. Okay? So please write in the chat if you have any questions or if you're confused what you have to do. There's 56 students here, so I'm going to have to take my time and go through attendance. But ultimately, you're working at your own pace, and you're getting just a head start on some of the early strengths and weaknesses in early battles. Tomorrow, we will go into some more detail. We'll clarify some of the issues, and overall, start to get a sense of who does well early on. Because that will be some of our focus for tomorrow. Does the Union do better or does the Confederacy do better? All right, so I'll keep this tab shared here so you have a little bit of a viewpoint as you're going through it in case you get confused who's on what side. But that's it. No problem, Madison, no issue. All right, I'll be taking attendance. Let me know if you have any questions.